Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here Thursday evening. This is an opportunity. You're welcome to ask any kind of questions that you would like, whether it's on the state of Utah, the United States, real estate. I am a licensed agent in the state of Utah, so that is what I specialize in. But I love the state of Utah, and I love doing this. I think it's a great place to live. And I hold this live question and answer session to answer people's questions. So if you have a question, just shoot it on the screen, and I will do my very best to come up with an answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll find one for you within the next week to something. You know, in Utah this week, it's been a beautiful, I absolutely love this time of year. The weather is just perfect. We were probably like mid 80s at the beginning of the week. Now we're probably about 80 degrees, 78, 80 degrees. Fantastic weather. So, plus we have low humidity in the state of Utah. That's the thing I really like. So I say that a few times. But, you know, a lot going on in the state of Utah this week. It's been a little bit busy with news events, with things happening in the state of Utah. And first up will be something I was just like shocked about this. Just happened today down in St. George, Utah. There was a 14-year-old who was cited for a DUI after crashing his sister's car into someone's home. 14 years old with a DUI. Wow. I read that tonight and I was just shocked. So this happened down in St. George, Utah. And of course, the young individual is being charged with a whole host of crimes as well. He should be. Pretty scary though. 14 years old, DUI. Wow, crashing into a home. So I don't know, a little bit shocking for me. So we do have crime that does happen in the state of Utah, by the way. We are a low crime state, but we do have crime that happens. Things do happen from time to time. An event that's held, most people know about the Ironman World Championship. Okay. It's always been held in Hawaii. It is leaving Hawaii for St. George, Utah in 2022. They will be holding the World Championship in St. George, Utah on May the 7th. Now, if you do live in Hawaii, you will not be shortchanged. They will also hold an event on October of 22 also. So, but yeah, the Ironman event in St. George. So not something that I've ever experienced, but it might be worth taking a ride down there. So, you know, I definitely will not be competing, but that'd be kind of cool. Be kind of cool. So, good evening. Wow, what is the best place to fish carp in Utah? That's a good question, and I do not have an answer for you. So, great question. I will. I've got a couple people that I know that are real big fishing enthusiasts, and I will ask them. They will probably have an answer for me. Moving back to Utah permanently this weekend. Military family currently in Las Vegas. Lived in Ogden before, but moving to Brigham City. Oh, okay. So you know the area. You must be stationed at Nellis Air Force Base, I'm assuming. Not too sure. That's the only base I know down there. It'll be Nellis. I was trying to think if the Army or maybe the Navy or the Marines had an establishment down there. I don't think they do, but I could be wrong. But yeah. So Nellis Air Force Base. So I'm assuming you'll probably be at Hill Air Force Base. So you've lived in Ogden before. So Brigham City is about 20 miles north. So you're very close to Hill Air Force Base if that is needed, if you are going to be stationed at Hill Air Force Base. So it's a nice area. It's a nice area. I have a brother who lives up that way. Doesn't live in Brigham City, but he lives in Willard, which is about 7 miles south of Brigham City, approximately. So, big event happening too in that neck of the woods, Ogden, Brigham City, since we're talking about that. Snow Basin Ski Resort is changing. They are planning a 300-room hotel. Construction has already started. So they are planning on building a 300-room hotel right on the grounds of Snow Basin. And this will take that ski resort, in my opinion, to the next level. People would love to come to the state of Utah, stay in a hotel, maybe take a shuttle service, I assume, from the hotel to the ski resort, and you're right there. You're right there the whole time. A very, very great convenience. So the construction is due to be completed in 2024. There's also going to be some retail shops there, and they are going to upgrade the ski lifts. So some changes coming to Snow Basin. I love Snow Basin. It's one of my favorite places to ski. It's the memories. Snow Basin held the men's downhill championship for the Winter Olympics 2002. It was an event that I got to attend. Very, very fortunate. But to ski at that same resort that the pros skied at is a great feeling. Love the place. Absolutely love the place. Was up there this last winter with some friends. With COVID, I thought it was a little bit of a disaster. The lines were long, long, long. They allowed people, with the COVID rules, so if you didn't feel comfortable, you could ride up by yourself or with two people and not bring other people on the lift going up there at the same time. So they allowed that. So it made the lines go really, really long. So, but great place. Great place. Okay. 1 year after I bought my property in Cedar City, my home is finally starting to be built. Hopefully in 4 or 5 months, I will get to move out of California. Gotcha. Yeah, construction is in the state of Utah is still high demand. We have a very big labor shortage. It's hard, and not just building a home. So a friend of mine was telling me last weekend they had a hot tub delivered. I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. They have been waiting 1 whole month to get an electrician to come out to wire it all up. So it's hard to get an electrician to come wire your hot tub up or a plumber. There's just a huge shortage, such demand with the commercial buildings that are going on and the residential. The skilled trades are in high demand. So, and maybe not just construction. A lot of places in Utah are having labor shortages. I ate at a restaurant a few weeks ago, and they would not seat people in parties of 6 or more because they didn't have the staff. I have been to some fast food places, numerous fast food places, that is drive-through only because they do not have the employees. Went to one establishment with a friend of mine for lunch, and there was a sign on the door that they don't open until 4 p.m. And this is a national fast food chain. Don't really want to say the name. I don't want to put some bad publicity out, but they're just having a hard time staffing the location. So they just cut their hours to 4 p.m. to, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So not just construction. And I wonder what's going to happen this wintertime with Christmas time, and so much is delivered to people's houses. So you've got Amazon, FedEx, UPS. Will they have the additional help? They usually always hire people during the winter months. Will they have that help this year? Don't know. Don't know the answers to that. So do not know. So I did have a question for you too on Cedar City. We have had, I don't know where your home is going to be at in Cedar City, but we had some floods coming through, hit Cedar City area or once or twice in the last couple months. And there were some people's homes that the basements are full of mud and water and everything like that. So, all right, Steve again. My brother's been trying for 2 years to get his home landscaped. Nothing but excuses. Yeah. Yes. All the trades. I do not know where the workers are at. So we were led to believe that with the extended unemployment, additional unemployment that they were offering over the last year and a half, that people were making more money staying home than working a job. And that has ended in the state of Utah probably around the end of June, I would imagine, beginning of July, somewhere they cut off that extra federal aid from the government. So we just had our typical state unemployment. And the thought process was there was going to be a lot of people entering the workforce. So my take on it, and I have no scientific data on some of this or no facts, but I feel that when the pandemic hit, there were people in their 50s and early 60s that decided to take an early retirement. Just was fearful of the whole COVID thing and could financially afford to retire. And I think some people just said, I'm going to exit the door now. And I think that other people have filled into those positions, but it's left a big gap through a lot of companies. That's my thinking. I personally know quite a few people who decided to retire early, had the opportunity, and they took it. And a lot of it was just to do with the COVID. So Max, I am thinking about making a video about life in your car in Arabic. And I think it would be a great idea that I meet with you and then you make a video. What do you think? Yeah, good possibility. I don't know anything about that. I definitely don't know anything about Arabic, so I could be an English-speaking guy. That's about it. But about life in your car. Interesting. Steve, east of the airport should be okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's been the flooding right in that area. We had storm after storm just coming right through. It was, we've had that for a couple years now. So if you are, I would, if you think there's a potential of, if you think in Cedar City there, Steve, I'm trying to think where I'm going. So, years ago, I was in the construction business. So this is where my mind's thinking on the spot real quick. But if you think there's a potential of flooding, I would look at when you're building your home to possibly put in some measures in case there ever was any kind of flooding. Maybe you would reduce some of your impact. And one of them that I always prefer personally is, so when you take your road level, you have your home higher by maybe a foot or so higher than what the road is. And then you can grade it away. So if the water comes floating down the street, it has to come up a grade to get to your house. And I don't mean putting on top of a hill, but just make sure that when your home is built, possibly, that it is higher than the sidewalk grade, as opposed to being lower and from the road going to your house is a downgrade, going downhill, if that makes any sense. That's one of the things I would possibly consider as you're doing new construction. Sean Moore, looking to rent an apartment in Logan. Any ideas? Coming from Michigan. Wow, I will be in Logan tomorrow night. Got the big Utah State BYU game, big rivalry game. So excited about that. I love the Logan area. I love Cache Valley. So as far as possibly areas in Logan, one thing to consider would be where you will be working. For me personally, there's a lot of great areas in Logan. North Logan, South, Nibley, Hiram, East, West. You got the East Bench, very beautiful. The area that I personally have liked is the south portion, the Hiram, the Nibley, for two reasons. If you ever make any trips down to Ogden to Costco or Sam's Club or Salt Lake City, you are being in those cities, you don't have to come all the way through Logan first. You get on the road, hit the canyon, hit I-15, and off you go. If you live in North Logan or the East Bench, you have to travel through majority of Logan before you start your journey towards Ogden or Salt Lake City. So personally, I have preferred the south end. Now, I do like the north end. There's some beautiful areas in the north end of Logan and the East Benches of Logan, some great areas. That's just my thinking in general. I prefer the south, just if I was to live there, and I do not live up that area, but it gives you little quicker access is what my thinking is. Another thing to consider in Logan would be where you're going to work. Logan is busy. Main Street, Logan, getting from one end of town to another end of town does take some time. And for people who originally were from Logan, maybe, and they haven't lived there in 10 years' time, and they come back to Logan now, they are in shock. They're surprised. They're used to the small town, just driving right through the town, and now the traffic gets busy. It does get busy in that area. So it even surprised me a little bit. I went up to the Utah State Boise game, and down through town, bumper to bumper traffic. It was actually a little bit of a thick traffic going up through the canyon, which I was really surprised. I had cars in front of me and next to me, which is something I am not used to. But depending on where you're going to work, I would probably try to possibly be somewhere within 2 or 3 miles from there would be my recommendation. So you're not traveling maybe from North Logan to South Logan or from south to north, or et cetera, et cetera. So a great community up there. If you have never been to Logan, Utah, it is a college town. They are very big on Utah State Aggie, basketball, football, the sports. It's a great area. Lots of great small town community feeling. It's Cache Valley is beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Lots to do up there. I'm a Buckeye fan. That's big time college football. So if you have been to a Buckeye game and you're going to go to a Utah State game or even the University of Utah or BYU game, it's a little bit smaller, not as big as what you're used to. But on the flip side, if you are a football fan or a basketball fan, value for money at Utah State is they play in the Mountain West Conference, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say you could get tickets like on the east side or in the end zone, season tickets to Utah State, probably for $120 to $140 a person. Some great value for the whole season. So great value. And I would imagine with an Ohio State game, you wouldn't probably get one ticket for that price. So that'd be per person price too. Just what I did. I bought the property up above street level, has a truck and 60 tons of dirt. Cost of $41,000. Dirt is a commodity. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, great. Great. See, that was my thinking. I work at home for a big company. Okay, I guess you can live just about anywhere. I personally, the south part, mostly just because of access. If you wanted to go to Ogden or Salt Lake City, you do not have to come through Logan itself, as opposed to the north end of town or up on the east bench. But those other areas are beautiful areas, great areas. Nothing negative about them. Just for me, I've always preferred being a little quicker access to some other areas. And if you are a shopper at Costco or Sam's Club, not available in Logan, Utah, I haven't heard of any plans for them to open up there. Ogden, Utah does have Costco and Sam's Club. So we'll need high-speed internet. Yeah, that's a good question. I would imagine some of the neighborhoods up there have high-speed internet. If you get into some of the rural areas, further out west, further out south, like I believe they have a city down there called Paradise. It's further south, and a lot of the areas between Logan and the Idaho border. My guess would be high-speed internet might be limited, possibly. Would love to see that game. Yes, it's for this year. The Utah State BYU game is a big rivalry. The Utah State Boise game is a big rivalry. The other game that draws some intrigue will be Utah State against Wyoming. That's still on the schedule for this year. So if you're in town, I think it's a November game. If you're in town, then that's a Wyoming fans travel very well. Very, very support their team very well. Do you see people commute regularly with an ATV or side by side? Yes, I do. I see it all the time. Yep. Very common. The machines, you can make them street legal. Requires like turn signals, brake light, mirrors, license plate light, horn. They sell kits on the internet that you can purchase to make it street legal. And yeah, you see people riding all the time. So great teams in Utah. Yeah, I'm a college sport fan myself. So Frank, the 10 a.m. start for USU last week was weird, but it might help grow popularity of West Coast teams on the East Coast. Yeah, good possibility. That's the first time I've ever been to a 10 a.m. game up there. I have at the University of Utah. They drew the 10 o'clock slot from time to time. Normally, the Utah State Boise game is 8 p.m. at night, and on TV. They try to televise that all the time. And I usually get out after midnight. It's a long night. So the 10 was absolutely beautiful. It was probably in the mid 70s through the whole game. Just perfect weather. Loved it. Sam's is in Logan. Okay. I guess I'm mistaken. I didn't realize they had a Sam's Club in Logan. I'll have to see where that's at. That got me curious now. We are looking at places along Main Street. Okay. Yep. Main Street is very long. So you could be south and you can be north. Fresno State, do they play Utah State? Yes, they do. But it's they're in the other division. So I don't know how often they play out of conference. Out of conference, or not out of conference, but it's in the same conference, but they're in the West League, and we're in the Mountain League. I think it's Mountain and West. This year, I think we have Nevada and San Jose, I believe, on the schedule. But we always do. So every year we play Boise, Wyoming, Air Force, UNLV. I believe UNLV is the other one that we play every year, and then they alternate with bringing in some of the other schools like San Diego. Not too sure exactly how they run that there. Just how bad is the snow? We get quite a bit here in Michigan. Not a big fan. Okay, so it's probably nothing compared to Michigan, but Logan, Utah does get more snow than what the Wasatch Front gets. And I'm referring to Ogden down to Provo, Utah. You will get more snow in Logan there than you will along the Wasatch Front. If you are in the valley, if you're going to be on Main Street area and not up on the benches, yeah, you're going to see a little bit more than what you see along the Wasatch Front, maybe 1.5 times the amount. You'll also see the temperature in Logan colder than it is along the Wasatch Front also throughout the whole year. Where to buy a small house for cash and work remote? Good internet required. You know, that's tough. In Utah, for some of the better internet that you would possibly need would be along the Wasatch Front or in St. George, Utah, and Cedar City, Utah. So whether it's Logan or from Ogden down to Provo, Cedar City, or St. George, some of the bigger areas, when we start getting into some of our rural areas, a lot of times you're with satellite internet. And I don't have any personal experience with it. My father-in-law has satellite internet. They enjoy it quite a bit. But as far as being able to operate a business from it, I do not know how well satellite internet works. I'm an Xfinity guy myself in my home, so I'm not too familiar. Do they do a pretty good job plowing the streets in Logan? Yes, 100% they do. So there's the number one area that they concentrate on most is the Canyon Drive from Brigham City to Logan. That is probably the one of the most dangerous canyons when it snows. There's a lot of slide offs and accidents, and people have died in that canyon. So that is a high priority. They try to get that. From there would be like Main Street in Logan, the busier streets they will attack next. The road going into Logan, I think it's 1,000 West that's out to the west. It's a 4-lane road. And then Main Street in Logan will be the first areas that they go to. And then eventually getting into the city streets, the individual neighborhoods. So you might live in a neighborhood or something where the roads aren't plowed, but you get out to the main road and it's already plowed. And it really depends anywhere you're at in northern Utah with snow removal. It depends on what time of day it snows. If it snows in the middle of the night when there is less traffic, the plows are out all night long, getting the freeways open and the side streets open. And you wake up in the morning and even in my neighborhood, a lot of times the city plows have already done my neighborhood before 7 or 8 in the morning. If it snow falls in the middle of the afternoon, 2, 3, 4 p.m., when there's a lot of traffic on the roads, the snow plows have a very hard time at working. And those particular commutes can be very difficult. They're in the same traffic with everyone else on the freeways and the side streets trying to get along. And it's difficult. It's difficult. So it's, yeah, if it snows in the middle of the night, which is fairly typical, the plows are out doing a great job. So, all right, good deal on the snow plows. As far as purchasing one, with Logan, Utah, as far as, I mean, if you were considering purchasing a plow, a snowblower would handle anything that you would have. So very, very good investment. So I personally have 2 snowblowers. I have an old one that I bought in the 90s, and then I have one I bought maybe 8-9 years ago. I didn't sell the old one. I kept it as a backup, and I use it every year, make sure it runs, and I'll do like part of my driveway with it. Then I'll get the newer one out and I'll do the rest. Just in case my newer snowblower breaks or the older one breaks, I always have another one to use. I thought it was a better idea than selling it for, say, $50. I am hoping house prices calm down, but I guess they won't since so much money is being printed. Yeah, nationwide home prices are high. It's not just Utah by any means. Idaho, Nevada, California, Arizona, home prices have increased. Where we are headed, is anyone's guess. Long term, there's a couple things that worry me as far as I think home prices will probably stabilize. There's a couple things on the horizon that can change the market a little bit, and that would be interest rates. Right now, the Federal Reserve is not keen on raising the interest rates. If they or when they do, who knows, and by how much, who knows, and that could change the market. There's not a whole lot else unless we have a major world event or we have possibly a stock market collapse. If the bottom falls out of the stock market and we go into a recession in the country, then I definitely think it'll affect home prices. So, but apart from that, and there's a couple things that have driven the price too, is Wall Street has gotten into the home business, what I call Wall Street, but big hedge funds, big investment firms. A lot of money is floating into these companies for people's retirement accounts and for other reasons. And they're all looking for areas to deploy cash. And we're talking millions and billions of dollars of money, trying to get a return for their clients. And they have chosen real estate as one of those avenues, residential and commercial. They can't take the money and put in the local bank. It's paying like less than 1%. So there's no return on that. Very little return on that. So they're looking at diversification, and that's so putting some in maybe stock market and some elsewhere. But they're building these huge apartment complexes. They're building neighborhoods now. I actually drive by a townhome development that is being built right now. They probably got about 20 units there. They're all rentals. Big money coming in, millions of dollars, and it's driving prices. And this is all over the country, not just Utah. It is hitting Utah a lot because of the growth that Utah is having. So they're seeing that, and they're like, we want to get into that market, build an apartment building. So that also has contributed to the home flurry. And then the low interest rates. I've worked with people that probably 3-4 years ago, they tell me they could not afford a home, and now they can afford the home because the interest rates have come down to 3%, possibly under 3%. There are some people that have been closing at 2.8, 2.85. I mean, it's historically low interest rates, and a lot of people are trying to take advantage of that. They think that this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get an interest rate this low. And I think we live in a great country, one of the greatest countries in the world. I do not know of another country that has fixed rate interest rates for the life of the loan. So you buy the house today, you get 3% loan. It's 3% for the 30-year loan or 20-year loan or 15-year loan if you get a fixed rate, and that will not that loan amount will not change. You take countries like the United Kingdom, theirs is a floating rate. It's 3% now, but if the rates go up in 5 years, you will pay a higher interest rate. So United States, great place to be, and a great place to be in real estate, owning a home. I think it's one of the greatest opportunities we have as Americans to own homes. I think the financial benefits but I sell homes, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. How hot are the summers in Logan? Well, you will find along the Wasatch Front, when we have 100-degree days, they are probably at 90 degrees. They're approximately 10 degrees lower than what Salt Lake City is. And that's probably year-round. So even in the winter months, probably about 10-degree difference. Damien, I want to start a mechanic shop. I'm from Cali. I want to move to South Jordan. What do you think? Yeah, great opportunities. Utah is a business-friendly state. They encourage business, and it is very easy to open a business. So, yeah, there's definitely a need in lots of areas. So I guess you just probably have to do a little bit of market research to find out what shops are in South Jordan at the current time, or maybe you would choose a city that is not being served as well, as if there is too much of a need. That's what all the large companies do. If you're Taco Bell or Sam's Club, they see what's in the area, and then they choose real estate based off of the demographics. Do you deal with that as far as leasing or purchasing like a commercial property? But I do not do anything with like starting a business. I can tell you, if you are looking at starting a business in Utah, you can go to, I think it's the Utah Division of Corporations. And on their website, I believe they have a button on starting a new business, something to that effect. And they go step by step. And I believe it can all be done online, unless whatever you're opening will require special permits. Like if you're in the food industry where the place has to be inspected by the health department, stuff like that, you may not be able to get a business opened online just like that. But if there was inspections or whatever that had to be done, but one has to go: sports cars, muscle cars. Cool. Is it better to finance a house right now if you have the cash? Wow, that's a great question. And I think it's a matter of personal, every individual is a little bit different. They say that the financial advisors, et cetera, they feel that you're better off to finance it and then put your money to work somewhere else. But I see a couple sides of that too. So if you finance the property, you have this cash, and you don't put that cash to work, and you spend it on vacations and new cars and stuff that it basically can be gone at some point. And I think some people regret that they just didn't put it on the house. And there's also the factor of paying cash for a house, knowing that it is yours, free and clear, and you never have to worry about that monthly payment. I think that feeling for some people is what they like, to have that particular, not knowing that you have that outlay of payments every month. So both. Yeah, I can help you with purchasing commercial. I don't do any rentals in the state of Utah. Very similar to Sean. Do you assist in finding rentals? I don't in general. Real estate agents in Utah do not handle rentals. In a large perspective, we do not have rentals listed on, like, say, the MLS. And so we don't have large inventories of it, et cetera, et cetera. There are some agents that specialize in property management, usually for a property management company, and they represent the properties that they manage, but not all the other properties. So it's something. But my recommendation is KSL.com. KSL.com. It's a local radio station, news station. They own a whole bunch in Utah. That particular website is used more than Craigslist in Utah, and just the state of Utah. Up in the right corner, you'll find classifieds, cars, rentals, etc. Go under there, find anything you want. You'll be able to find rentals. That's where every landlord that I know of, including my own rentals, I throw them on KSL.com. So it's free to list items. So if you need to sell a washing machine, a car, or buy any of those items or tickets, it's free to trade on that particular website. It's a great website. Muscle cars rule. I'm keeping them. Okay. I'll be in Utah in a few months. I'll call you, see if we can see my options. Maybe you can help me on buying a home first. Sure. Frank, will St. George or Cedar City blossom into cities in the next decade, or are the projections overblown? I personally think so. I do. I can see those two cities. They're a 1 hour drive away. I see that the growth to continue to meet each other, possibly. I think it's going to happen. I really do. The people that project our future population in the state of Utah, they say our population is going to double. Right now, we have about 3.2, 3.3 million people in the state of Utah. You double that to 7 million. Yes. Cedar City, St. George. So I could easily see that. Thank you. Hey, thanks for joining me here tonight. If you buy a house cash for $400K, how much would the annual fees be, taxes? Okay. So property tax on a $400K home would be probably in about the $2,000 range. $2,000, $2,100, $2,200, somewhere around there. Property taxes do differ by what county you live in. Some counties will take out bonds to build a library or other infrastructure. So sometimes you might find $50, $150 difference from neighborhoods or from county to county in property tax values. But you won't see like one county being $2,000 and the county next to it's $4,000. So you typically don't see that. All right. Great questions this evening. Any more questions before I wrap it up and call it a night? And Morris, I'm not too sure what city or state that you currently reside in, but I personally feel that Utah's property taxes are on the reasonable side. So I work with some people. I've worked with many people from California and Oregon and Texas and New York. And when I hear what the property taxes are in some of those states, it's pretty expensive. Yeah. Some people are telling me they're paying $1,000 a month in property taxes a month. So, and I then do not complain about Utah's after I see something like that or hear about something like that. So, any more questions this evening? I'll be back again next week too. So same time, 8 p.m. Thursday. It has been a pleasure. Hope everybody out there. Frank, What's the best sports bar in Salt Lake City? Wow. I would have no answer on that. I have not visited a sports bar in probably 20 years in Salt Lake City, but I've heard of Lucky 7. It's next to the ballpark there for the baseball. People say that Lucky 7 is a great place. No personal experience there, though. Thank you for your videos. We feel good about moving there. As soon as we find a place, we will be there. Yeah, Sean, I'd love the state of Utah. I think it's a great place. I probably will never say it is the best place in the country because I don't believe that exists. Everybody has different tastes and different objectives and values and stuff in life. Like if you enjoy the California surfing scene, you move to Utah, you'll be severely disappointed. If you enjoy the nightclubs in Miami and you move to Utah, we do not have nightclubs like you see in Miami. So Utah isn't for everybody. I just landed in Mesquite, Nevada, currently homeless. Oh, gotcha. Okay, you're just down from St. George. Thanks for it. You're welcome, Morris. Yeah, Mesquite, Nevada. That's an interesting town. I've watched that town grow. So it's interesting. You know, I can remember going back many years now, but so Mesquite, Nevada, Mesquite also has a Arizona side. And you used to be able to buy property on the Arizona side, just raw land, very, very cheap, because nobody wanted to be on the Arizona side. Everybody wanted to be on the Nevada side. Thanks for your help. You're welcome. We are originally from California. Utah has to be better. Ah, yes. I mean, I love California. I vacation in California. Love the state of California. For me, it's not for me as a full-time resident. I love to visit, but the traffic, the politics, the cost of living, I personally do not believe I would live the lifestyle that I live here in California. So, but we love to visit California. I think it's a great state, and we visited many times. Excuse me. But any more questions this evening before we wrap it up? Well, I thank everybody. Have a great weekend.